Sure.
Right. All right. This is Dave Abbott with improvebackpacking.com. And I was able to sit down today with Jay and Bob, right, Bob?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bob. It says,
Yeah.
okay. So to find out a little bit more about their Big Sky renting gear, backpacking gear, equipment, that's what I was focused on when I recently wrote an article. So we're gonna talk to these guys and learn more about what they do and how they do it and how they can help you out. So, morning, guys.
Morning. Thanks for having us, Dave.
Oh, no problem. So, yeah, why don't we just do a quick intro? Jay and Bob, you can kind of tell us a little bit about Big Sky Rent, and then we can go from there.
Sure. Bob, you want to take it away? This is just my wife passing by. Working from home.
Yeah. So quickly, a little bit about me. I started, hunting pheasant and quail early on in life. My dad's an avid hunter. We're a family from Nebraska, so and I've always grown up, walking the fields with my family, and so as time has progressed, it always takes me back to be able to get back out there with my family. And when Jay and I started thinking about opportunities and new business opportunities, this just became so obvious, at least for me, because I can't tell you how many countless different types of camo we have in our basement at my family farm. And I think in a lot of ways, Big Sky will help solve that problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I currently live in Kansas City with my wife and 3 kids, and looking forward to bringing them up in a similar way.
Nice. So, are you guys buddies for a long time, or how do you guys meet?
Known each other for 5 years now. We
Okay.
we started working together, and so here in Kansas City, and kind of at some points over those 5 years worked closely, and then a little more distantly, but all enjoyed working together and kind of grew that friendship. And I think out of mutual respect and that friendship, kind of decided, look, maybe we should start thinking about doing something on our own. And
Right. Okay.
for me, oh, go ahead.
So then, what's that?
Oh no, go ahead.
So basically, you guys came up with the idea. Was it kind of one of those write it up on a napkin at a pub and then bring it to fruition, or kind of how did it start?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both kind of avenues. So I think we had been thinking about, how do we do something for ourselves, and we were invited to go on a fly fishing trip, and I grew up camping and kind of pond fishing. I wouldn't say I was an avid outdoorsman by any means. And was invited on this trip and just really didn't appreciate how expensive this gear really is. And to, this as well as anybody, Dave, but on the packing side, how expensive a good pack is along with a good tent and forth. And came from actually a truck rental company. And so, I think naturally our minds kind of went to this rental business. Thought, hey, stuff is way more expensive than we really ever appreciated. And I bet there are a lot of people who either, have it and it sits in their basement for 350 days of the year, or want it, but want to do these things, but can't necessarily afford to do it with the top of the line gear and want to do it with that top of the line gear. So I think, there's an opportunity here to, create a business and also, help people get outdoors and enjoy things like camping and backpacking and fishing and all of that. So we
Right.
we wrote it on a napkin and then kind of on for a few months and
Right.
did some research and we're like,
Mhm.
let's do it. And
Right.
that,
Right.
that was about a little over a year ago that we wrote it on a napkin and, kind of just really since January have gone strong on it and
Yeah.
our website and haven't looked back since.
Right. So this is all still new to you guys. You're still in the first big year of doing this, and I know with backpacking and especially being in New England, we have. It's very seasonal, I mean, starting in May when the bugs come out, the people come with it, and then by October, November, people are going back in. We do have a pretty vibrant winter community, but it's not what we see. So what we see in the summer. So, you get this big ebb and flow of folks that want to try it out. What I've found from my experience is I'm very frugal. So,
Yes.
my gear is purchased one, painful piece at a time,
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to go out and, if next week I want to go hike the Presidential Traverse up here, I need to borrow stuff, or I'm going to look like Santa Claus carrying a satchel up over the mountain because I don't have all that equipment. I do have the backpack, but all the other stuff, right? So you guys thought of the idea, you got it going. Who's the tech guy and who's the, you get all these, who's the operations guy, who's the tech guy?
We're both the everything guys.
Yeah.
At this point, we're learning the tech side. Bob came in with, recently more of a kind of digital marketing, wing to him. But I think over the course of our careers have worn many different hats and ourselves, whether this is true or not, with Army knives a bit. So we're kind of tossing and tugging on every piece of the business at this point.
So are you still, are you going at this full time, or is this something that you're still working your day jobs and you're building it up?
Begrudgingly working. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it has to be. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And being in your first year, you've made some strides big enough for me to find you on the website and find your stuff, your stuff pretty cool, to move forward and part of being in my article that I wrote about the blogs about the rental companies.
We appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I like you guys. I'm still new at this as well. So tell me, what have you seen in just a short period of time, as far as kind of like what obstacles are you facing? How are you starting to grow this business? Did you have a good year?
Yeah.
Are you happy with it and all that stuff?
So Jay, fill in the cracks here, but I think it's been an interesting timing. Because what we at first thought was going to be just a huge speed bump for the business in terms of what happened in March and COVID and everybody having problems there, in some ways has been a bit of a silver lining for us, because a lot of people have decided that their traditional ways of vacationing and spending time with family no longer necessarily are an option. And in a lot of ways that's pushed people, to the outdoors.
Right.
And more specifically camping and some backpacking.
Mm-hmm.
And so, at first I think everybody took a huge pause. But now what we're seeing is, folks are trying to get out. they're realizing, oh man, I've got to go, you know, buy out my local Shield store of gear, and that gear is, you know, no surprise to anybody, really expensive.
Right.
So as people have looked for alternatives, you know, whether it be, you know, lending it from somebody or receiving a loan from somebody or what have you, you know, they're now saying, oh shoot, maybe I should just, you know, rent this stuff, to the extent that people know that that's an option. And I think, you know, not to carry too much airspace, I think that has been the hurdle for us, is just getting the word out that renting is a good option,
Right.
you know, or is an option, for you to gear up for your next trip.
Yeah. And what do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we went into this a year and a half ago or so, and we're super excited by it, and still very much are. And but you know, as goes every other, you know, every small business owner knows, there's, you know, you see the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, right? And it's like it just like this, and there's a lot of hard work that kind of goes into that.
Right.
And so we learned early that, you know, nothing happens without hard work. And we had, you know, you asked about kind of what's gone well, and, you know, what we've learned. And I think what we've learned is, you know, that, that there's no substitute for time, right? We learned that not all web developers are created equally. We've had to kind of, you know, fine tune our site, you know, over and over again. And somebody who's really great and has helped us, you know, recently. But, you know, and then when we early on we're getting rents, we were like, oh, we need to like get dealer agreements now. So
right, with the
order, we've actually got gear to provide to them.
Right.
And so, but I think with each of these hurdles, we've kind of come ahead stronger and smarter. And, you know, to the point you had about seasonality, we like about, you know, kind of our offering is, especially, you know, you know, if you're only going to backpack in the summer and you want to try wintering backpacking, you know, you don't want to necessarily buy all that same gear. So little niches that we can cater to, but also, you know, from kind of the business management side of this, hunting starts later in the year, right?
Oh, right.
Falls off a little bit, you know, it's just not nearly as popular in the winter, summer. So once, you know, camping season kind of closes up shop, then hunting opens up shop, and then, you know, early spring fishing comes around, and so on and so forth. And you know, we're just kind of learning as things go on. But we going into COVID, really kind of had the business stood up, so to speak, at that point. And then everything shut down. And so is this not a good business plan? Like, what's going on here? And then once things started opening up, it was like, whoa, we got to catch up with this demand. And it's been kind of just steady ever since. And I think it's surpassed kind of our expectations.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So as far as think about like what type of brands that you're carrying, if you want to kind of get into that a little bit. You know, and just to kind of backtrack with the seasonality, it's nice that you did find, you know, other sports that are complementary seasonally. You know, with me, it's summer backpacking, winter backpacking, you know, so it's winter backpacking still drops off because a lot less people are doing it, which I wish more would do it, because I think winter backpacking is so much nicer. You know, there's no bugs. Here, that's a big deal. You know,
we're and I think we want to kind of stay strong in those niches like winter back,
Mhm.
where we know people, both avid and introductory,
Right.
users, so to speak, want to do it. But from a brands, we've tried
Yeah.
to align ourselves with, with really strong notoriety within the industry, whether it's hunting, fishing, or camping, and specifically in backpacking. Who we're working with are Big Agnes when it comes to tents and
Yeah.
bags and pads. Deuter comes to when it comes to packs.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna probably screw up a few of these names,
That's okay.
rattling
I'll
them
correct
off,
them
but
later.
Luminade, I think, is the
Yeah.
lantern. They make these super cool, like basically retractable lanterns that are solar
Mhm.
powered, so super lightweight. And honestly, Dave, kind of just testing it a bit. Like, we know these
Yeah.
resonate well, and our hope is that other brands take to this business model and
Mhm.
they cater, more and more to that industry. Like, maybe you have a Deuter backpack today and you want to test out, say Patagonia's pack. I'm just go out a pack name and
Sure.
want to go use it for a weekend before you get down on buying a $300 pack. Then you look at Big Sky and say, okay, why not test it? And they've got a rent to own program, and
Mhm.
it's kind of a win-win scenario.
Yeah. Why don't you expand on the rent to own, because I think that's a huge player in what you're doing, because it's just it's the try before you buy model, right? And we don't leave a car lot unless we have tried the car out, right? I think the same would apply with you guys. So why don't you expand on that?
Bob, you want to take it away?
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah. So when your hunting gear starts to get about as expensive as a car, you kind of are hoping for that try
Right.
before you buy it. So I think from our perspective, we want people to be coming to Big Sky, whether they're a novice, just trying to get started, and they're kind of just doing the daily rent or the trip based rent, just similar to how we've got set up. But we also want to appeal to the professional or to the person that does it quite a bit. And we think that this rent to own program kind of fits some of that customer base's needs.
Right. Right.
And in a lot of ways, it's just like Jay's saying, some of these scopes can get really expensive. Why why buy a scope, test it out and not like it?
Right.
From Big Sky's perspective, we're going to give you the opportunity to rent it, for that trip or for those 2 weeks. And once you've had a go at it and you've had the opportunity to check it out, test it out, we're basically just applying that rent
Right.
to our sale price,
Okay.
and it then becomes yours at the end of your trip.
And I
Nice.
think only to add to that, one thing that we've messaged, to the manufacturers who are familiar with this business model, is our thought is, if you can get it, high quality product in somebody's hands who's already thinking about buying, they're
Right.
more and more likely to, continue, either to execute that purchase or to go back to Big Agnes next time they need
Right.
something. And
Yeah.
just kind of, it's an easy way to get their product into people's hands and only encourage more buying from them.
Yeah, and I think from I don't know, growing up in New England, and it's probably all over the country, but growing up in New England, we're told not to spend money ever. So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
That's how it is in Nebraska too.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We buy one piece of equipment and we're supposed to have that for life, and
Right.
when that falls apart, then somebody buys you another one for Christmas or whatever. Um, but yeah, I think that there's kind of that underlying fear that, and you kind of hit on it with different, like Deuter and, moving around in backpacks. People are afraid that this one piece of equipment isn't going to be right for them. So then they don't pull the trigger on buying something, and so the rent to own, the renting first is a great model to kind of ease that pain, especially, I mean, you guys it's reputable, product. So it's not like, you're renting out, garbage
Right.
skis or a local
Right.
ski area,
That's right.
so, but tell me about, kind of what you guys, how you're dealing with COVID, because you're handing,
Sure.
you're passing along all your product, through multiple hands. So
Yeah. So initially, with COVID, both personally and for our customers, we were, concerned, obviously, and weren't sure the best way. Do we shut things down and wait out, or what is the best process? And so what we elected to do was Clorox clean, and for every piece of equipment, it's Clorox cleaned when it comes in and out. So, same approved by CDC,
Yeah.
same level of care that,
Right.
is expected, and, to not pass on any germs whatsoever, let alone COVID.
Right.
As far as which this has been a smaller segment of our business, frankly, in the last 9 months, but hoping to grow it. The camo and clothing piece of it, we've
Yeah.
sent to dry cleaners
Okay.
to be
Get it
dry
nice.
cleaned in between, so that there's any elimination of doubt that it's been professional. And
Right. And people are happy with that, I would assume.
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we've had, really positive feedback, both about the quality of the product, the ease of, receiving it and shipping it back, and the cleanliness,
Yeah.
that
Right.
whether it's the first time renting that unit or the third time, that people are feeling like it's as good as new.
Right. So as far as shipping, do you guys want to let us know? Yeah, because I've read a lot about renting, as you would expect. Everybody does it a little different, but everybody has some similarities. So if you want to kind of, just give us the lowdown
Yeah.
on how that works.
So we want to make it as straightforward as possible when renting from us. Even in the beginning, we tried to, basically keep shipping out of the equation, and then it became this topic of discussion. So now at this point, what we've decided is we're going to just include the shipping in the rental rate,
Okay.
and to the extent that whether you're up in New Hampshire or elsewhere, that shipping, we're just going to take that on as our burden, and we'll ship it to you, free of charge, basically.
Right.
And so that eliminates a lot of concern or discussion, and we think it's kind of the right thing to do, and I think our customers have been happy as a result of it.
And
So
to
they
that-
get what? Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say, to resound that we can ship to anywhere that will, receive the package.
Mm-hmm.
Campground has a PO box, or if a residence, a business, we can ship it anywhere. We do ship via UPS currently, and so we can ship to anywhere, and all you have to do is enjoy the gear, and then once you're done with it, drop it off at a UPS.
So the shipping coming back to you is also included in the price then?
Yes, and there's a
Okay.
return label. We've got these
Yep.
nifty folders that kind of come with the box, and it's got the return label in there.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think that's, it makes it a no-brainer, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it just too many times you start to read stuff and then, you're at the checkout and before you know it,
Right.
there's something added on and now you're
Plus,
like,
plus,
oh,
plus.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to go into this, but you guys have an affiliate program. Are you working on that for guys like me and others who might want to, help you
Yeah.
sell?
Yeah, so this is actually a new initiative that we've taken with Big Sky. And what it is our ask is to folks like yourself, Dave, and other people of influence, with websites or social media or, I guess just popular people that, if they were to assist in spreading the good word of Big Sky, that there's a referral in it for them and a commission associated with every sale made. And the ask for those who have a web presence like yourself is to link to our website, and we can what we would do is cross promote and link back to you all and promote it on our site. And every time that somebody transacts with Big Sky that's associated to Dave, then at the end of the month gets a kickback, and
It's a big
hopefully
check.
exactly
Yeah.
Right.
in process takes care of both our customers and yours.
Yeah. Did somebody just eat something there?
Yeah.
I think the bear came in. No, and I think that I think from my standpoint, I think that's the way of the world as far as salespeople, because you guys can't hire a salesperson, not this early. And why would you ever, right? And having an online presence helps you to, okay, let's point our efforts towards Big Sky so that they can make money, and then we become your salesperson, but we're not tied to you, right? I mean,
Right.
I'm tied to other affiliates, and so it's a win-win where you put out a good product, and then people just naturally want to help you out and want to sell it, and it's
Yeah. And one of our first affiliates, actually right outside of Omaha, Nebraska, they see it as, a benefit to their customers.
Absolutely.
So whenever somebody books with them, the next email that goes out is, okay, here's what to expect.
Mhm.
And then here's the packing list. And then everybody cringes about the packing list because half the stuff on the packing list, is super expensive. And then and oh, by the way, if you don't have any of this stuff, or you're thinking about going and buying all this stuff, why don't you take a look at this as an alternative? Because if you're only going to do this, even if you're only going to do this once a year,
Right.
You're talking about a super expensive piece of equipment that we are renting at a fraction of that price.
Right.
So the hope is this guy shows up and, books a trip and immediately starts to think of us when renting his equipment. And then, the affiliate gets a commission, and, we have an opportunity to rent.
So, yeah, and I think, you hit the nail on the head. Nobody's going to buy equipment if they're only going out once a year. And the majority of us, we have 2 to 4 weeks of vacation, and you have families. You're not going to take 4 weeks of vacation, or 6 or 8 or 12,
Right.
to go on your trip. So, in closing, I think we should close this up. Tell us, kind of give us your pitch, 30-second to 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. Just give us your pitch and kind of bring it all together for us so that, everybody knows what to expect and how great you guys are.
Bob, you or me?
Jay, go for it, buddy.
All right. Well, our hope is that Big Sky can help everyone get outdoors and enjoy the outdoors, whether it's camping, backpacking, fishing, or hunting, more easily. And to do so, we've lowered the entry fee of admission. We've tried to make it as easy as possible with shipping really anywhere in the continental U.S. and are doing so with top of the line, high quality equipment. So whether you're an avid outdoorsman, we've got a rent to own program if you want to test out a piece of gear, or you're new to the sport like I was to hunting and, don't know what you need. We'd be happy to be your guides as you're looking for gear and hopefully let you play around with it for a little bit at a much cheaper price than it would be to buy new. So.
Yeah. Well, that sounds great. So I'll put this out, let everybody know about you, and then I'll reach out in a few minutes, kind of reach back to you and figure out how to get this best on the website for people. So I appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Thanks for spending your time. You have a great day.
You too.
All right. See ya.
Thanks. Bye.